By now, you've probably heard that Mecha Break has a demo out right now, and boy howdy is it out. Check out the jiggle physics here, as demonstrated by Epic Treasure XX over on X.com. As they're pointing out right here, you've got the jiggle physics and all of the different costume colors you can do with this. Now, this again, not just limited to these basic stealth colors, there's plenty of others to choose from. And Epic Treasure's having a fun time with these jiggle physics. Anyway, over here on the Steam listing, you've got it right here. Now, until March 3rd at 10 a.m., you can try this out, all right? Now, I'm hearing mixed reviews, as you saw in here, and you can see right here that this is a mostly negative review scale right now. But what I want to mention about that is that a lot of Chinese players have replied to this with very negative things to say, as you saw in the opening there that were translated to English. So you and I knew what they were saying or had a rough idea of it anyway, as far as Google was concerned. But what I want to point out is that that 33% is also from some Americans as well, some Westerners as well. Could be some Canadians mixed in there. Who knows? But I don't know. Did they have internet up there anymore? Did they ban that? Anyway, the uh, the problem with these negative reviews is that they are based in some truth. The monetization on this game has become very predatory. Originally, when some of the testing was done last year, I think in August, is when some of the testing was done. The monetization aspect of this, the loot crate stuff, the purchase new pilots stuff, that wasn't there, and so now that's there, and it's kind of turned people off to the game. They thought it was going to be free to play, up to down. You know, you could optionally buy your way up to higher power, just earn your way, but apparently, there is an EA style monetization scheme at work here. So, take that what you will. But I do want to point out that this has the kernel. This is the anti cheat expert ace, right? Right here. This is going to download a separate thing onto your computer, right? A separate program, separate run, a separate exe rather, on your computer that runs that. So even though you uninstall the game, the ace is still active on your machine, and it's going to eat up some dedicated CPU rather. So just make sure that if you want to do this, you gotta want to do it, because it's like gamer herpes, I guess, or something. It's Steam herpes. Anti-cheat herpes, whatever you want to call it. But it's there for a while. You got to deliberately go find this kernel and uninstall it, and it's a bit of a task to get rid of the damn thing. So this is one of the things that I want to point out about going forward with a lot of these new games, is that you're going to find things like this. It's not just limited to Chinese games. You're also going to find this in Korean, Japanese, Western games. This new anti-cheat thing, it's not. It's really just looking for a doorway to get into your system. It's not even game specific anymore. As I pointed out with this is a totally separate program that'll run on your computer that'll eat up your CPU as it monitors what you're doing. Even though it's not connected to the game that it was installed under, it's still there active doing God knows what. So just remember that, okay? This game, by the way, is by the amazing CSUN Games. We have the interview with Insider Gaming over here from Scott Robertson. He sat down with the creator of Mecha Break, and one of the things that stood out to me in this interview was how passionate this guy is about mecha. Now, if you don't know, mecha are the giant robots in the story. It's what the Japanese sort of coined for the term of giant robot, or just you generally just robot in general. Like a robot, this Neopilot will be called a mecha as well. But traditionally, mecha is applied to things like Gundam, things like Gigantor, things like Mazinger Z. Um, Bravern, I believe, is the latest one, but that one's weird because the robot's got a thing for the pilot, and it's really weird. Yeah, if you're not into the yaoi thing, the boy love thing, don't. It's Bravern's a bit much, but this isn't Bravern. This is Mecha Break, and Mecha Break likes mecha, believe it or not. So here it is. Insider Gaming. This is Scott Robertson asking this question. He says, you said you've always wanted to make a mecha game. What challenges have arisen in trying to make a game that appeals to both mecha fans and more general gaming audiences? And so this is Chris Kwa. I believe it's how you say it, Chris Kwa. Um, he is an Indonesian game designer, game producer, I believe. And so this is his response. And so what he says, there's two sides. I have an emotional drive to make this game and a more rational side. At the very beginning, rationally speaking, we weren't that confident about reaching out to non mecha fans. Earlier on, around 2021, we were only aiming at 6v6 mode. But what surprised us and gave us a confidence boost was that in China, which isn't known much to be the capital of mecha fans, we still got about 1 million views within 3 days on a single platform. The reason we're so confident in this project is that the more we do, the more positive feedback we get. On the emotional side of things, no matter how good the FPS you make is, the main vehicle of expression is the person. You're shooting as a human. So a lot of games, despite other features, kind of feel repetitive. So in this project, what we're seeking is a novel experience. Aha, there's that fancy word, there's that fancy phrase. There it is. Novel experience operating as a mecha to gain that differential from traditional shooter games. We're not aiming at a wider audience by including an extraction shooter. We would like to bring the experience of operating a mecha to people who like mecha and who also like the extraction shooters. We're still serving the core audience of mecha fans, so we're doing what we're good at, which is making the mecha gameplay good. If both mecha and non-mecha fans really like it, they'll naturally introduce it to other people via word of mouth. I'm not a fan of Chinese games. You can look back through any of these things. I have criticisms of Marvel Rivals. I personally don't like supporting the CCP through the various corporations that they're forced to have an ownership role in, by the way, including Amazing CSUN Games. If you're made in China, if you're operating in China, you have to be owned. You have to be owned by the CCP. You have to have a CCP board member part of your decision-making board. That's how the law works there. And so I don't like the idea of funneling money into the CCP, even if it goes to someone as passionate as Chris Qua. I think that this guy is a very good, passionate man. I feel this in the way that he's talking. Because again, he could be out there and he could be some kind of guy likes to party too hard or whatever. But how he approaches mecha is very passionate. He's very serious about what it is to have a giant robot flying around kicking lots of ass. And you know what? I think Tomino is really the only other figure out there that really shines in that regard, and I really hope that Chris Kwok can kinda elevate himself up there because that's the passion that Tomino has for giant robots, that they're a greater experience for the human ideology of combat, you know? A greater extension of what it is to thrust yourself into battle. And this guy has it in the more like direct manner of playing video games through that philosophy, whereas Tomino was trying to explore the greater terror and agony of war through that medium. And then Mazinger Z was cool with like rocket fists, like rocket fists. We're gonna blow up some dinosaurs with rocket fists, you know? You Getter Robo ripping holes in universes, and that Getter Emperor that was. I got sidetracked. I like mecha. Pat Labor's coming out with a new series as well, so I look forward to seeing some Pat Labor skins show up in here. Now, wouldn't that be fun? You're playing Mecha Break, and then all of a sudden you get an optional uh you can pick up a Pat Labor skin, maybe a Wing Zero skin, you know, if they're appealing to the American audience, maybe because we have this this is the 30th anniversary, I believe, of G Gundam. I think this is the 30th anniversary. 40th? 30th. 30th anniversary of G Gundam. So it would be neat to have God Gundam show up, maybe Master Gundam as well. That would be neat to have the two of those face off against each other in here, kind of like Dynasty Warriors or something like that. But now, all is not great, by the way. You're going to have people out there that want to talk about this in a very negative way. You have Vraz here, and this person is not alone in what they believe. There's quite a few people out here, but this one was the most, I guess, direct comment about this. Seems to be my favorite word today. And his Vraz here says, obnoxiously sexualized. You're forced to watch an animation of your character's chest wobbling after every death. They sound just like that in real life, I guarantee it. But this sandwich artist of a human being is obviously disrupted by the jiggle physics we were talking about in the beginning of this. And we'll go back here and take a look at it. This is again from Epic Treasure XX over on X.com. You can see it right here. And they're showing off the jiggle physics that are going on in this game. And this is what Vraz is referring to, that this is just too much. It's over the top. There's an ejection sequence where the character's chest is wobbling and whatnot. Again, boobies do that. Boobies wobble. If you have a character with big boobies, physics are going to make those big boobies wobble. That's what was programmed into the game. Similar to how Yasuke can go into a Shinto shrine and just dice it up, slap chop style. You've got these guys that were like, you know what? We're not going to destroy shrines. We're not going to desecrate a culture. Instead, we're just going to put big booby, big butt girls in giant robots and make them fly around and kick lots of ass. Okay? Again, I have to stress, I don't like the idea of putting money in the coffers of the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, okay? I don't like it. But Mecha Break has made a very good case for supporting it in light of what's happened recently, especially with all the Goonergate stuff going on. And you wouldn't believe who's followed up on that one. You go ahead and check it out there on X if you want. I'm not showing it here. I don't want to give them the time of day. But the reality is that Mecha Break is here, and it has broken the internet with over 317,000 players at peak, by the way. That's right. That dethroned Marvel Rivals for just a little bit, for just a few, on a demo, by the way, on a demo, not even the full game. Now, again, like the demo had some bumps and bruises to it, so it may not have as huge of a release when it comes out, but as you can see right here, but it may not suffer really from this. One of the big things about people's experience with this is that in the West, we're not used to games like this. These sorts of games are a bit overwhelming, I guess, is that this is like kind of like Gundam Extreme, is that it has just a lot happening all the time, a lot of noise, a lot of ADD kind of massaging stuff going on there. A lot of the stuff from the reaction time games that South Korea was so popular for in the early 2000s. So a lot of that's going on there. So this is kind of new for the West. A lot of people really enjoyed it. A lot of people really enjoyed this as like their first foray into that just sensory overload style of gaming. So, a lot of compliments about the user interface as well, that while the mecha had their kind of buffs and nerfs that were a bit strange for the players that were playing the game, they felt that overall, with a little bit of tweaking, these could be very comfortable games for like esports. There's a lot of comments about how this could very well be one of the ranked games out there that'll enter the esports arena, as Overwatch admittedly gets a bit threadbare out there. So who knows? We might see Mecha Break and Marvel Rival tournaments showing up at your local esports arena. And I said that out loud. Esports arenas with Chinese games in them. We really need to catch up, guys. It's not that hard. It's just boobs and butts. It's not that hard, guys. Come on. Come on. You'll have to let me know how you think about this down in the comments below, if you use your brain, if you use your heart, or if you're using some other part. But as always, guys, good luck out there.